I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Vita and Chip and Culpy. And
Jim
Root.
Jim, shout out to the big homie.
Yep.
What's up, Jim? Rammstein. Off their amazing album, Set and Sucked.
What?
Set and Sucked. That's the name of the record. The album. This is
I thought you said Satan sucked.
Satan sucks. I agree with that. I'm not a fan of the devil.
No. We're Christians.
Rammstein. Alter Mann is the name of this song.
Yeah, this one has the English translation in there too, so.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
So we haven't done Rammstein in quite some time. So here we are. Rammstein. If you want to check us out in another context, it's Middle America with Vin and Sori.
Yep. Or you can check out Behind the Scenes with Sori.
New
kids,
videos
which is
coming
My Sori Life.
soon to
mine.
Middle America.
To mine too.
If you want a shirt, all that stuff's down there.
Yeah.
Dong that's all. Speaking of which, there's a big homie Raul watching Tom Brady
Yeah.
tear up them Chargers. How you feel, Zonia?
Honest to goodness.
With
this
his Middle
picture-
America, that's a badass
When
picture.
I saw this picture, I was like, that is such a cool picture.
Yeah, Raul.
And then I just happened to look at the mug, and I was like, Vin, it's your mug! I was like, it didn't look like the colors were so like vibrant. I don't know, like the TVs. I thought it was a snapshot of a commercial.
Nope.
And then I saw the Middle America. I'm like, well, it's going to be all commercial.
So if you want a Middle America mug, let us know. Middle America, Vin and Sori. It's
actually,
right
if you're, it should be down below. Like you can access our Teespring store.
The Teespring store is down there. Anyway, shout out to Raul. If you do have any Middle America gear or any Vin and Sori gear, send it to us and we'll put you in a video.
Yep.
Hmm?
Don't
All
send
right.
us the gear. Send us a picture of you in the gear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not naked like some people.
Right. Yeah, not only wearing the gear.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
And go.
People are talking in the background. Get a better
How do you know this isn't supposed to be like that?
I know. Get a good copy, please. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
It's not?
No. Get a good copy, please.
Babe.
I've had enough of your lies.
So you've heard this one before?
No, I just know that there aren't supposed to be people talking in the background.
To me, it sounded like it belonged as part of the song. There's people talking in the background. Okay, we got a better copy. Inshallah, there won't be any talking. What?
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
And go.
gefressen. Todeskraft verstarb die Hand. Die Finger mussten sie ihm brechen. Der Fächer bleibt zurück im Sand. Den alten ruf ich jeden Tag. Erwischte mich doch hier, löse dich, bleib zurück im Mittagswind. Und in den Fächer fang ich Leben.
My favorite one of theirs.
That's such a fun song.
Yes. Have you heard this before?
I had the lyrics right there. Don't roll it, don't hit. What are you supposed to say? The fan?
Yeah, what was the fan? I missed that part.
Spiegel sign. Something about a fan.
Yeah, I know, but he said that did he read something on the fan?
The big thing was about a fan. With a fan every day.
He makes the water smooth with the fan. That reminded me of like the kids.
What do you mean?
He says, I throw the stone in for fun, the water moves in circles, the old one looks sadly at me and swept it smooth again.
Good Lord. There's something about this guy's fan.
But it says that only him and the water know why the man needs the fan.
Right.
And then the kid takes it at the end, but they had to break it out of the man's... They had to break his fingers off to get the fan. Rigor mortis had set in, and so they broke his fingers off to get the fan.
Are you sure?
Yeah, scroll down. And then he has the fan, and I think that he was reading the fan.
Hold on. I'm looking at the... No, it's fucker welding to wave the fan.
Yeah, babe, scroll down.
It means fan. Okay. Go ahead.
The premonition sleeps as a volcano hesitating. I asked him then, his head bent. It seemed he slept. Before he died, he said, the water shall be your mirror, and when it's smooth, you will see how many fairy tales are left for you, and you will plead for salvation. The fan pressed against his body, and the hand stiffens with rigor mortis. They had to break his fingers. The fan stays back in the sand. Okay, scroll. I call the old one every day for him to save me here. I stay back in the midday's wind, and I can read the fan. See, I said he was reading something on the fan.
Yeah.
The water shall be your mirror, only when it's smooth will you see how many fairy tales are left for you, and you will plead for salvation. I don't understand. Like, maybe there's some story in their culture. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know what he's referencing. Like...
Okay, so it says at the beginning, with a fan every day the old man makes the water
yeah,
smooth.
he smooths the water with it.
And then in the song he says, the water shall be your mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Only when it is smooth you will see. Okay, so he's using the fan to smooth out the water.
Mm-hmm.
Not an electric fan, like a handheld fan.
Yeah.
He's using it to smooth out the water so that
Yeah.
he can see himself.
Yeah.
So,
Well, scroll down. Why is he in the sand then?
well, he's on a beach. He's on a beach. I mean, obviously this is metaphorical, but it makes sense now. He's on a beach, and the waves are coming in,
Yep.
but then he uses the fan to smooth out the water so that he could see the reflection of himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And so the fan is basically symbolic of whatever mechanism he uses to like be able to see his true self is the point. That's a pretty strong metaphor. Good Lord. Good job.
So why is he calling out to the old man? Why doesn't he just look into the water himself?
The old man is probably him at some point. You know, like his old self talking to his younger self. When does he talk? When does he?
I call the old one every day for him to save me here. I stay back in the midday's wind and I can read in the fan.
Yeah, but
The old man is dead.
Yeah, he says. But he says once the water's smooth, you'll see how many fairy tales are left for you, and you'll plead for salvation.
Did you realize there's none left?
Well, I think it's one of those things where it's like age and time. Like you're not going to be able to overcome age and time. Does that make sense?
Oh.
Because the more he sees himself in the mirror, the more he's realizing that he's getting older and older and older. And he says you're going to plead for salvation.
Oh.
Because your life is basically a fairy tale because you're not going to be here. You know, it's like when you're young, you think you're always going to be here. That your years are just going to multiply. So when it says, when it's smooth, you will see how many fairy tales are left for you because as time goes on, you're going to see yourself aging.
Yeah.
And that life was, the whole thing was a fairy tale that you were going to live forever.
Right.
And so, so then the man dies, right? His body stiffens with rigor mortis, but the fan stays back. So the only thing that was constant was the fan that would bring him face to face with that reality. So that's the point, is that you're always trying to avoid this reality of
he
death.
smooths it every day.
Right.
This man's obsessed.
Right, because he becomes obsessed with the fact that he's gonna die.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that's left is a fan because
Which is
he's
why
gone.
he was still gripping it even when he died.
Right. And then there's a thing where he talks about throwing a rock.
The kid does.
Yeah,
because he doesn't care.
Right. Well, I throw the stone for fun. The water moves in circles.
Yeah.
The old one looked sadly at me and swept it smooth again. See, because the throwing the rock in the water is something that kids do for fun, but then it creates all these concentric circles, which would then like mess with the image. So the old man is sad because he's like, look at this little kid, like he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
So then he smooths it over, and that's kind of like this is the reality. So you like people do all these little things to make themselves, you know, like forget that they're gonna die. And the old man is sad. He's like, no, kid, look. You know, so this is probably the best writing from Rammstein ever. Because
I loved oh my gosh.
You loved the what?
Instrumentally, what he did.
But that's probably a very, you could play, I could teach you that riff in 2 seconds.
Yeah, but it went along with the whole thing, and I like it better when he does it. Or when you do it.
Don't touch me. But this writing is really good. I really like this writing.
This is by far my favorite.
This is probably the best. It is so good. In the white sand, the old man trembling smokes his pipe. Only the water and I know why he needs this fan.
And he always does like these horrible, disgusting themes.
Yeah.
And this one's not. This is like
really introspective. It's about. I think part of it is about losing childhood. It's like you turn a corner at some point when you have an understanding of your own mortality.
Yeah.
And not as as a concept. Like, because everybody, like, I think, you know, like, kids know, you know, they're eventually going to die or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, the moment when you realize that you are going to die.
Yeah.
That's different from the concept that people die.
Yes, it is.
The moment when you realize that you yourself are going to die is a major loss of innocence in the life of any human being.
Oh, for sure.
So I think it's metaphorical of, because you know what's interesting, because think about it, the guys in the sand, what do they say? The sands of
time.
Yeah? Very smart.
And the waters of, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to know what you would do because I didn't have anything.
Waters of destiny, I don't know.
I should have waited longer and been like, babe, come on.
Yeah, so the guy's sitting, he's standing on the sands of time, and then the water kind of functions as like a mirror that holds up the fact of his own impending mortality.
Yeah, it's weird because I thought he was Father Time, the old man.
Yeah.
But then he dies. So then it's not.
The water shall be your mirror. I call the old one every day for him to save me here. I stay back in the midday's winds and I can read in the fan. I can read in the fan. But when he did that part, like the notes went higher. He goes, "Liaison." That was like the climax of the thingy-majiggy for him. Man, that was such a good song. So what is he reading?
I don't know. But he said, I can read, he's saying I can read in the fan. But maybe he doesn't mean in. Because the fan is how he's able to read like the future or what he has.
The fan is what helps the old man see into the water.
Yeah.
But he says, I stay back in the midday's wind. So he doesn't take the fan and go back to the water. When the old man dies, he never says he takes the fan and goes back into the water. He stays back actually. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, because if he's in the wind.
Because look, at the beginning, he waits for the midday's wind. The wave comes and lies down wearily with a fan every day. The old man comes and makes the water smooth. But here, when it's his turn, because the old man has died, so presumably the torch has been passed to him.
He's not smoothing it.
He says he calls on the old one every day for him to save me, and he stays back in the midday's wind.
Yeah.
So when the midday's wind hits, because it stirs up the water, he's supposed to go down and smooth out the water, but he's not doing that.
No, he just stays in it.
He's staying up there and he's reading in the fan. Maybe he's got a book or something like that. See what I'm saying? Like the fan, because the fan either smooths out the water or protects from the wind, so he can read his book. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's like, well, what are you reading? What's interesting is a book. Think this through. A book is keeping him from seeing his own pending mortality.
Yeah. What about it?
Well, do you think you're gonna die and stay dead?
No.
Why?
Well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what I think what he's saying is, you can either be like the old man and use the fan to smooth out the water so that you can come face to face with the fact that you're gonna die, or you can use the fan to protect you so that you can read your book, so that you can avoid the fact that you're gonna die and stay dead. Like you're using.
Oh, you think he's saying all that?
I think so, because he says he's reading, and that's the first. Think this through. He talks about fairy tales.
What is he calling the old man for?
Because the old man was the one that had the wisdom. The old man was the one that figured it out. But he's still calling to the old man even though he knows the old man is dead. So he doesn't want to deal with the fact that death is a final reality. So after the old man dies, what he's supposed to do is accept the reality that the old man is dead and that he's going to die.
Yeah.
He's supposed to take the fan, smooth out the water so that he can look and come to terms with his own death. But he won't do that.
Right.
He knows the old man is dead, yet he's still calling for him. Why are you doing that?
Well, I don't know. I thought that was weird.
He doesn't want to accept that the guy's dead. And so instead of A, accepting that the man is dead, and then B, going into the water himself, he's using the fan now to protect him so that he can read. Well, what's he reading?
Right.
All of that is designed. He's pretending that he can still talk to the old man to save him from death.
The old man can't save him.
Well, yeah, and he's deluding himself because he doesn't want to deal with the fact that he's going to die. I think is the point.
That's interesting.
So this concept that you can talk to people after they're dead, or that you can still somehow get back to them, that's a fairy tale. And the other fairy tale is that you're using this book to protect you from the fact that you know you're going to die. That's smart writing, man. That is really, really smart writing. Very good use of metaphor. Not only him, but this is the best written song I've seen in the last 2 months because it's so brilliant. This is a really brilliant piece of literature because it's a very strong art and it's, you know, again, he says, I'll tell you how many fairy tales you have left.
Yeah.
And then again, plead for salvation. That's a Christian idea.
Yeah.
So like this idea that you can be saved from death is the fairy tale. And then at the very end, he's reading this book to help him avoid his own impending death or the finality of the death of the old man.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't agree with him. I don't agree. Well, but see, if Jesus Christ was not a historical figure, I'd have a lot more difficult time with believing that stuff. But because he is a historical figure, that changes everything.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, well, do you believe in Zeus and Vishnu? And it's like, no serious historian believes that Zeus and Vishnu actually walk on the earth.
Right.
But Bart Ehrman, who's a, you know, I just bought this book, Did Jesus Exist by Bart Ehrman, who's no friend of Christianity or Christians.
Right, exactly.
You know, Bart Ehrman is one of these people that he says none of the gospel, you know, the gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, he's like, none of those people, they're all anonymous authors. Like, so he's not a Christian. He describes himself as an agnostic atheist. Well, Bart Ehrman compares people who denies that Jesus existed to, you know, flat earthers and moon landing deniers and people like that. Like, he's like, no serious historian who's ever looked at that period will deny that Jesus of Nazareth existed or that he was crucified under birth and punched. Well, that's significant.
Yeah.
Because when probably the main guy that's on the other side of what we believe about textual criticism says that's pretty significant.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So he's a historical figure, and now we have to contend with how the heck his religion exploded after he died. And so I think that's huge because it's not just, oh, this is a nice story. It's wait a second, we got a historical figure here. And we've got a historical phenomenon that has never happened before or since.
Right, exactly.
Okay, well, okay. And what's interesting, of course, is that the first Christians were always face to face with the mirror of death because...
Oh, yeah. They were under persecution.
They were under persecution. And it's a really interesting idea. If Christianity was a religion that was designed to avoid the concept of death or to inoculate you from the concept of death, that's a very bumpy, awkward way of accomplishing that because a whole bunch of them ended up dying. Like the moment you became a Christian in the first century, you were signing your death warrant. So, and in not a very pretty way either.
Yeah.
So now you can say things like that about Christianity because you're in an environment where you're gonna live 75, 80 years on the planet. But back then, it wasn't like that. You know, so it was, you know, back then they would have probably said, this is a death cult.
Exactly.
Because you guys keep, you know.
The things that you believe make it so that way you are all getting killed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just very interesting how, you know, I completely understand what he's saying. You know, but then when you look at actually what happened historically and all that, then it's different. It's not the same thing. So, what an amazing song.
What do you get?
The premonition sleeps like a volcano. That's good. The premonition is that he's gonna die.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, in the second verse, he dies. I mean, in the following verse, he dies. Hesitating, I asked him at his head bent. It seemed like he slept. Good. This is an absolute 10 for me, for sure. For sure. I love this song. I love this song. Such a good song.
Definitely. What?
I wonder if he has other songs like this.
This is the first I've seen like this from him.
Yeah. You know,
he's a whole other category.
He's like one of those kids in schools that just like messes around.
Yeah.
But then when he gets really serious, he's like, forget it.
Yeah.
You know, oh, let's talk about people eating people and all this other stuff, and you know.
Yeah.
But this one was really, really good. Good Lord, what a good song! I can't get over how good the song was. Anyway, It's a 10 for me.
Me too.
All right. Good job, Mr. Rammstein.
We're very proud of you.
We're very proud of you. Vin and Sori are proud of you.
Yep.
We'll let you do an interview with us for free.
Yep. We're nice like that.
Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.